6, 5, 4, 3.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Well at Effin' Figures. We have a special episode tonight. It's Monday. We're actually international tonight. We got Ed from Ed's Retro Geek Out, which I'm happy about. I've been following him for a while. I don't know. It's been years now. I love his videos. He does an amazing job. So let's welcome him to the channel.
Thanks for
How are you
joining us,
doing?
man. How are you?
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks.
Oh, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us so late. I know over there it's 11 p.m.,
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
Honestly, that's one thing I gotta think about when we're asking people to do stuff. I totally didn't even think about that.
I didn't either, but he told me real quick, like, dude, I can't do it at 9 p.m. It's like 3 a.m. here. So I was like, all right. I understand. Like, let's not do that.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I know, because there's times like people are in the chat and they're like, it's like 2 a.m. here, and I'm like, oh, dude, I don't even think about that. It's like right over the top of my head.
Yeah, well, you can't appease everybody,
honestly. Right? Oh yeah, I know.
Can't make everybody happy, right? But you made us happy today. Thanks for joining us, and it's gonna be a fun time talking to you internationally. This is pretty cool. It's our first one, I believe. So welcome. So what's going on over there in where you're at, your neck of the woods, weather-wise? How is it over there? Like,
well, it's getting hotter.
Yeah, here too.
Summer's like coming in, so that's good. Lots of sunshine. We just had a convention last weekend. I'm like, back at work. Came back from my last USA trip over a month ago, but I'm still going through those videos. So trying to catch up in that way. Also play music, so a lot of festivals are going on now. So we're pretty much out every weekend.
Oh, cool.
And at the end of June, I'm going to be over at a toy convention in Norway. So
oh wow,
we got invited, me and my buddy Maddie, who's also on the channel quite often, heavy metal dude.
Right.
He's going to join in. I actually have to play a festival the day before, and then we leave from Amsterdam, head out to Oslo, and Norwegian Toy Con. So I'm super excited.
Oh wow!
I've been to Norway once before, but like as a kid, so it's going to be cool to see other collectors there and meet up. So yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, sounds
fun time.
I've never been there, but it sounds like a blast. That sounds cool.
Oh, I mean, I'm dying to like come over to your neck of the woods. I feel like you can do so much. Like I don't know, like how far do you like when you're out doing your stuff, like do you travel, like what's the farthest you go?
Well,
like on the regular, like if you're, I mean, like I don't go outside of the state really.
well, it ain't as far as like the kind of travel we do touring, or like when we do a USA toy hunting trip, because that's like we pretty much go from Texas up to Chicago and back, something like that. Usually over here, Europe is really small. Like the stuff where I go to within Europe, it's maybe as big as Texas. Like I drive up 2 hours and I'm in Amsterdam. I drive to the right and I'm over at like a convention in Germany. I take a train 2 hours down to the left and I'm in the UK. You know?
Wow. Yeah, trains are a really big means of transportation in Europe, from what I understand.
I think like Ute Hostel, like students that come and travel, it's easy by train, and just to get to the UK, you can get a ferry or you can go by the high speed train that goes underneath the ocean. But yeah, it works out. Like before that, we used to tour a lot in the UK, and it was always like on the ferry, but then you end up over on the seaside, so you're not in London exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's apart from that, I don't know how it is in Maryland or but there's not a lot of toy shops here. So there
Really?
might
No one sucks.
in Belgium, and they're only open on Friday and Saturday. And
Oh,
then
we
you
have
go
some
to
like
Amsterdam. Yeah,
we have
then you
some
go
like that by me too.
Yeah, in Maryland, it's like hit or miss. I have to drive probably hour and a half, 2 hours to get to good ones.
Okay.
In either direction, because I live close to Delaware, Maryland. Well, I live in Maryland, but close to Pennsylvania, Delaware, kind of like Jersey too. I'm only like 3 hours from New York City,
Okay.
a little bit less depending on traffic. But on the outskirts, there's a lot. Maryland has a lot of like antique stores, and there's a few particular that they have like throwback toys, like vintage toys, things like that, but not a ton. So I have to
I'd
travel a little
imagine
bit.
like some of the comic shops would also carry some of the
Mhm.
vintage, or
Yep.
but
Yep.
it's all. I mean, it's always hit or miss.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Any store, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, like those hot pockets of like, well, there's 4 or 5 stores within like, like within like half an hour driving distance. That
Right.
yeah, there's not a lot of that. We do have flea markets and stuff, but stuff didn't really go on clearance here, or wasn't like mass produced like for some I think like holiday seasons in America.
Hmm.
They would really like push out a lot of stock during
Okay.
those times. So what I see when I'm in the US, it's just like mind-boggling. Like there's so much inventory in these vintage toy shops and stuff like that.
Right.
Oh
Right.
yeah. You pick
We
up a
don't
lot of
have
stuff
it.
when you come here?
I buy a lot of stuff.
Do you when you come here? Do you
I
pick
try to buy a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well,
And I
like
guess you ship it back for the most part, I would guess, right?
No, just
No.
put it in my luggage.
Okay, so you get smaller things. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
That's
kind of
cool.
limits me, but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay
that's
with
what I
that. You know.
Yeah.
yeah, who needs their clothes, just
Yeah, I think I literally come over with like 3 shirts, two
Yeah.
pants, and some
Yeah.
underwear.
Hey, you're
Mhm.
smart because like I overpack and then I never like I'll wear like the same 2 things and it's like why'd I even bring all this shit?
Yeah, I always pack a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to wear this shit. Like, so I mean,
I-
most of my T-shirts are black anyway, so most of my clothes are black and gray. My wife makes fun of me all the time, like, why don't you get a yellow shirt? I don't want a fucking yellow shirt. I hate yellow shirts. Like, I don't want to wear that shit. So, yeah, I overpack too, and then I end up just, oh, this is a nice black shirt. I'm wearing this again. So it doesn't make sense, but it is what it is.
So what made you start the whole YouTube thing?
The whole YouTube thing, I got into well, basically when I was studying, one of the ways to watch entertainment was by having an internet connection and watching YouTube, and watch documentaries on there and stuff. And I somehow rolled into vintage or retro game collecting. So it's something, well, I had as a kid, and a friend of mine was into it, and I started searching for a lot more video games to pick up when I'm at the flea market and stuff like that. And that sent me over to Angry Video Game Nerd. From Angry Video Game Nerd, I got into like the whole retroware TV thing with Pat the NES Punk, the video game years, and that's where I saw Game Chasers, started watching their channel, and then like went down the rabbit hole of all those toy or video game hunting shows that actually mimicked an actual TV show. So like Retro Liberty, Retro Hunters, who were one of the first ones that did it, and there's a whole bunch of guys like that actually. So that's where I initially got the idea of, hey, you can actually do like a reality TV show on YouTube, and you can kind of make it yourself. So back then, I was playing music. I was touring quite often, and I always had like in the back of my head like this idea, like let's do something like that with the band, like because I mean, I have time on my hands when in the bus just waiting because like it would be like 6-hour drives, constantly. I can edit or I can do something, then like the band fell through, and I suddenly had a lot of time on my hands, so I would spend my weekends, instead of playing shows, I would go out hunting, and met up with Renzo, who is still in the videos sometimes. Um, and he was also like into Game Chasers. Then we started selling at conventions or doubles. We met Maddie, and I think by the time we met Maddie, I had put out my second or third video, and so like we started chatting, like Game Chasers, and it was like, yeah, we're trying to do that, and that's how it got started, like trying to mimic something like that before I wanted to do a different thing. But I was just like, well, we're doing it anyways. Why not try it out and see where it takes us? So that's how it got started, by just wanting to learn it and trying to get into like that scene. Like when you're like 15 and you want to start a band to hopefully one day, play with one of the bands you listen to, something like that. So yeah.
What do you play in the band? Are you lead singer, or are you guitar?
I just play guitars and scream. So
that works. I mean, it's been working for a long time. What's the name of your band?
Now I play in Rotsack,
Okay.
which doesn't translate well, but it means bastard.
Oh wow, I would have never guessed.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with like Maccore or metallic hardcore, stuff like that. Some post-hardcore stuff.
Cool.
So that's kind of what what we play. Yeah.
Cool.
You're busy.
Yeah. So I know you started your channel probably a year and a half before the pandemic. How did the pandemic affect your channel as far as stores being closed, a lot of things changing, things being shut down, masks, all that? How did that affect? Did it affect your channel in a negative way, or did it actually make it better in the long run? Like, how did
Well,
it?
content-wise is how my channel got affected by that. I think right before the pandemic hit, I had started doing room tours, and one of them really hit big. I think then it was like, oh, I got a video that did like 80,000 views or something like that, but I still only had maybe 2,000 subscribers.
Okay.
So once that video took off, I tried to mimic that, like going to other people's collections and doing kind of like the same thing, because I figured that's what the audience clicked into first. And we were doing, toy hunting stuff as well. With the pandemic, well, you couldn't go anywhere, at least not where I'm from in Europe. And there were no flea markets or no conventions or anything, not even happening with like any of the restrictions. So I still had a couple of things, videos laid away, but after a while it was like, well, I got to figure out something on like, what do I make a video on, so I started doing stuff like, hey, Jeffy, he's in the chat. I can see. Awesome.
Cool.
I was just I was kind of talking to him about you, and we're in a group. We're in a group chat together.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, we got lots of guys in the chat here. So hey, everybody.
Yeah, we got a bunch that come here every week, man, no matter what. So we got our tried and trues here too, and a couple new faces. So that's cool.
There we go. There we go. So yeah, it kind of like hit us in a way like, well, we can't do what like we set out to do, go out hunting, turn it into a video. So it allowed me to think about more stuff in a creative way, or push me to do different things. And one of the things I started doing was doing like top 10 videos, like
Mhm.
everybody has done before.
Mhm.
So it'd be like top 10 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys. Which ones
Right.
do I like and why do I like them and stuff? And then I started doing collection videos. This was like month 2 of something that would last 2 years. And during the collection videos, I would start, looking up more info on, well, this is my collection, but what are those people going to get out of it? Maybe they want to start collecting it. Maybe they want to know a little bit backstory about it. So I started digging a little bit more into what that stuff was about. And then eventually I ran out of ideas, or, like I want to do something different. And I, for some strange reason, I started looking up like toys that weren't produced.
Mhm.
And that's like the video that took off.
Right.
So I put up like 8 unproduced toys by popular toy lines. So, nothing really, but like I wouldn't have to purchase it because it would be like Toy Fair magazines that I have laying around that I could use the images from, and talk about it in detail, and reference stuff that I have, like this is where they got the idea from. This was going to be a repaint of this thing. And what I started doing then was like really writing out scripts first, like handwritten,
Mhm.
because like I didn't know any better. And yeah, that ended up being that first toy history video. I dubbed it Toy History. I don't know
Mhm.
why, but it took off. I think it did like 10,000 views within like the first 2 days or something, which
Okay.
Oh,
was
wow.
crazy to
Wow.
me. So I quickly followed it up the next week, same hour, same time. Here's the next one, 8 more. Then I did a video on, I think, band toys,
Okay.
which totally blew up. I think it's like somewhere almost at like 400,000 views by now.
Wow.
And then it would always go back and forward between like unproduced stuff and something else. So I would try touching things that I felt like the bigger guys weren't talking about, or not having it as their main thing that they would push in front. So like a Pixel Dan, or Toy Galaxy, Retro Blasting, which I all love those guys. I'll watch a lot of their videos. But
Mhm.
I was like, well, they're already doing like the main thing, or they have a niche in what they do. Um, and yeah, I was kind of like navigating, like, oh, well, maybe they haven't touched about this thing yet, or that thing. And yeah, I kind of took off. But it was, I think, about identifying like what an audience is reacting to and trying to replicate it each week, so they would know I have to come back each week. I did that for like a month or 3, and then I was like, this is like a 40-hour week just making this show happen. I don't know how I can,
Okay.
do this.
Before we get to
S-
just Jeff's comment right here, let me address the chat real quick if I
yeah.
can. Mega Demon collects. He's one of our tried and trues. Welcome to the show, brother. LeBron Fett, thank you for joining. Way back when, Joey, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Rolando, your winnings are out there in the mail, so you'll be getting that in a couple days. Welcome to the show too. He's listening while he's driving. He does that a lot, but he's always here with us. He's here with everybody. I don't know how he does it.
I tell you, he's
But
got a security system.
he's
It's
got
got
that, or some,
everybody on there.
he's a clone, man. He has like 10 or 12 of them, but I don't know how he does it. Just Jeff is here. Yukon Phil, what's up, brother? We'll be on his show coming
You
up
can't
in
forget about
July.
Duffman.
Yeah, Duffman's here with us as always. And let me see, did I miss anybody? I don't think so. I got to get to Jeff's comment. Are we going to talk about how Ed steals toys from his friends? What's up with that?
It's about a video that's on Narc's channel.
Hmm.
And at one point, me and Greco were digging through a bin, and he finds like a Crystar figure. And I'm like, I want that. So like like it was kind of staged in the video where it kind of looked like I took it from him,
Yeah.
which I totally did. But like I think at the end, like we actually talk like, oh, do you really want it? Yeah, I'm actually looking for it. Oh, well, you can have it. I don't care. So
Hey,
So-
why else you going through the bins, right?
Was that
Yeah,
a recent
yeah,
video?
definitely.
Was that a recent one? No, you know what? The one I'm thinking about was, and I forget the actual toy because I wasn't familiar with it, but it was on a shelf, and immediately it was a pretty nice size figure, maybe 5 inch. It was I think it was some kind of bird or something, or some kind of animal. But you saw it originally, and then everybody flocked to it, and they all wanted it. Is that
Yeah, the muscle mutt thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I just
Yeah.
watched that one, I think, yesterday, and and they were all fighting over it. Did you end up getting that? I don't think you did. Did you?
Oh,
Somebody else bought it from
I
under you,
saw it
right?
first.
Yeah,
but
you did.
Somebody else bought it.
I was on your side, dude. I was like, he saw it first. That's fucked up, but.
I think it's yeah.
Uh-oh.
So what exactly? I know you said it in the video. What exactly was that? Because I wasn't really familiar with it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not
So
familiar with what it was.
so that thing is a muscle mutt,
Okay.
which is like a Streetwise Designs. I
Okay.
could be wrong about all this stuff. I know nothing.
I wouldn't know because I don't know.
But I think Streetwise Designs, they came up with the idea for Street Sharks, and
Right.
they got Joe Galliani into it as well, who was working for Mattel under Barbie at the time,
Okay.
and he started, working with the guys on the story and everything. Sold it to Mattel. Mattel took it, started developing it. It got a sequel by introducing Extreme Dinosaurs, and then like the last thing they wanted to do was Muscle Mutts, but that one didn't get released by Streetwise Designs, but by a toy company that I think was kind of like more of their own thing, which they also released like weird celebrity dolls on, like for the nanny or a Dennis Rodman action figure. They also had Ghost 2022, like that cartoon with like a purple vigilante, something like that. So it makes them a little less distributed,
Mhm.
I guess, and
Okay.
they're sought after. They actually, like, when I saw it like in real life, you could see like the teeth are almost exactly the same as like a Ripster from Street
Yeah.
Sharks.
Yeah.
So it kind of like shares the mold, but it's a different animal.
Right.
It looked like a
Um,
cool piece. I just I had no idea it even existed, to be honest. But like
Yeah.
I saw your eyes light up like when you first saw it, and I'm like, I can't believe you didn't get it. So how much did they want for that thing anyway?
They
Like,
wanted $500 for
yeah,
it.
he got it for 4, I think, right? He brought it
No,
down.
for I think 300.
Oh, okay, because there was
Yeah.
something. I think the shoulder was kind of messed up or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. One of the shoulders looked
Yeah.
like it had been like fixed.
Right. That's what
Um,
it was. Yeah.
but I mean,
You
you
win some,
really
you lose some,
don't
right?
see them that often.
Yeah.
During my trip to Mexico, I saw like all 4 dogs,
Hmm.
and one of the guys that's in like the toy line. So like a human action figure. But
Okay.
there's apparently also 3 cats in it. So
Nope.
yeah.
Huh.
You collect strictly vintage, right? Do you collect any new
Yeah,
like modern
mainly,
stuff?
yeah.
Have you
Um,
gotten it? Is there any modern stuff that you are collecting?
Well, during like the first year of the pandemic, when like a lot of these things started, coming out, and it seemed like, oh, this is what we're gonna get, and there's no longevity to some of this stuff, like the reissues of the original Ghostbusters.
Mhm.
I would like pre-order that, because I mean there was no hunting going on anyway, so
Right.
I'd have it on pre-order. But then by the time it got to Europe, you know if something were to have cost maybe $15 in Walmart, we would have paid maybe 35 or 40 for the same item,
Oh,
just
man.
with like import and
Mhm.
and even like people wanting to sell it over here, like as a importer, they would get hit by so much overhead, buy it just to get it. So it was like it's not worth it, you know. Like one of the things I really liked was the ultimates that Super 7 made for TMNT based
Yeah.
on the
Yep.
original toys.
Mhm.
I got a few of those, but like the last wave, some of them ended up being like 108 euros for one. So I'm like,
Oh,
I'm not gonna be, you know, buying 400 euros
right.
worth for each wave because they do like 2
Right.
waves each year or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I was already like nitpicking, like I want that one and maybe that one,
Mhm.
and now I'm just like I'm over like the whole new thing. Yeah.
So during the pandemic, things shut down, things were terrible. As it started to open back up, did you guys over there have the same distribution problems we had here? And like there was nothing for a while, then there was a wave of stuff that should have been out a year and a half ago, but it wasn't, and things like that. Did you get the same effect over there?
You mean like toy release wise?
Yes, and like just like not having anything available when it was supposed to be. Like you heard
Well,
about
yeah,
things
I
that were
think
held
everything
back,
got
and
pushed, but I
Mhm.
think that by the time it got to you, it also got to us because it just
Okay.
had caught up,
Mhm.
you know.
Okay.
Um, I like it's weird because like some stuff will actually get to like India and then through India to Germany first,
Mhm.
like some of the Origins figures.
Mhm.
Some dude in Germany, he always has them like 2 months before they even come out
Well, that
in
happened here
America.
within the United States. Like somebody on the West Coast would get something, and I wouldn't see it for 2 months later on the East
Yeah.
Coast.
Mhm.
So, like you said, I guess Europe is a lot smaller, so it happens the same as the United States. But it's just, it's weird because like people are finding. I'm seeing these things on these videos, like holy shit, man, I would love to have that. And then like 2 months later, it finally pops up in my store, and I'm like, well, I'm over it now. Like, so kind of
Yeah,
screw
yeah.
things up.
Yeah, I think in a way it feels less desired when stuff. I guess that's why they're trying to work with a street date as well because they
Mhm.
want to get it out to everything because a lot of it is impulse buys as
Mhm.
well. I think there's a
Sure.
lot of regret when buying new toys because it's usually like definitely now like it's a large sum. You know, if
Mhm.
you buy 3 of those, you're
Yeah,
down
right.
$100, something like that, almost with tax.
Yeah, I mean, you pick
Um,
up a wave now, it's over $100. I mean, easy
yeah,
for
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Walmart, Target type stuff. Like
and to me, that was like when stuff started heading into like a $40 price range. I was like, I can go to flea market and pick up a box of 20 action figures, flip
right.
the ones I don't need,
Mhm.
and keep the ones I want.
Right.
Like if I'm gonna spend $40 on a new toy, it's gotta be like something I really like, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, we
And
talked.
not just to buy because they're gonna keep on creating all that stuff. But that's just, you know, the way I try to do it. So I mean, there's no like if you're into that and stuff, and if it if it clicks with you, if you like it, if you enjoy it, you know,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just something that isn't cut out for me.
Right.
uh,
Let's like, I mean, that's like we talk about people that you know buy this stuff from people that are flipping it. Like what? Don't like it's a figure that already costs $40 more than it should. Now you're gonna go pay some guy, another $40 so you can have it first. Like, you're eventually gonna find it, or like you said,
yeah,
they're gonna remake it again. So
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the other thing with like turtles wise, there's just you have the NECA ones, you have the NECA movie ones, you have the NECA based on the cartoon ones, and you have the Super Sevens, you have Playmates putting out reissues. Um,
Got the
something
new
like
line starting for the new movie. Like
yeah, yeah. I mean,
we're,
there's
and then you still go to the store and you can't find any of them.
Yeah, that's really weird. But
You would think like the shelves would just be like packed out with them like they were back in the day, you know? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
you got
I love the
15
turtles. It's just so many. Like I don't, and I think them being like, I guess like as I was getting a little older, like I wasn't really small watching the turtles. I never really got into them, but they are cool. I do like them. It's just like you said, there's so many now. I don't think I could do it. You know, I don't even know that much. Like you just rattled off a whole bunch of them, and I'm like, I wouldn't even know the difference looking at them because it's not my thing. But they are cool looking. I love the Super 7 ones. They definitely look nice. But like the old original ones, I had them when I was younger. They're cool. I just don't. I would love to have them again. See, I would like to complete the series though. See, that's how I am with that kind of stuff. Because I'm doing the old Hasbro wrestling figures, WWF, and I'm still trying to find certain ones because I like to complete that.
Well, it's cool about the Super 7 ones, and I think obviously probably why a lot of the vintage collectors like them is because they're like the vintage ones. They're just like updated versions of them.
Right. I
Yeah,
guess that's what attracts me to them, I guess.
yeah. I heard like somehow now Playmates blocked off of like having them do like homages to them.
Oh, I thought I heard something about that too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's real, but I mean, it might make sense because they want to reissue certain things, and
Yep.
yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah.
mean-
But I mean, like the Muckman and which I have a couple there of Muckman, Mutagen Man, or like the Toxic Crusader, also Playmates. Yeah, those are toys I had as a kid, and now they're like big again, you know.
Right.
So that works. Do I want like everything that came out? Not really.
Yeah.
And yeah, one of like the weird things about it, and like sorry to plug it, but I did a video on Scratch, and it just seems so odd that within the Ultimates line, obviously you have the first, you have the Turtles, you have to have Rocksteady Bebop, April, and Splinter, a Foot Soldier. Yeah. But then they started with like these waves in which, oh, here's Scratch. Which kid had Scratch?
Right.
Which kid had the white jersey Donatello? Like, not a lot of them. So it's driven by, in part, it's driven by, collectors being looking for that thing and being like, oh, I should get it because it's, that really expensive one.
Right.
I don't know. But there's not a lot of nostalgia going on with it.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you like to go ahead, Colin?
I was just gonna say, I know when I was a kid, I remember having like 15 different of each turtle,
Yeah.
And then you had a couple of bad guys, but I mean, every turtle that came out, I had them, but yeah.
Do you like to complete all like the vintage turtles? Do you have the complete set of them, or is that something you want to do, or are you not a completionist at all?
I want to complete it in the long run. So yeah, it's not something I'm like really desiring to complete because it's gonna take a lot of money, and because that's where I'm at with Master of the Universe now. I'm at like I'm at like 7 more pieces to have the complete set.
Nice.
Jeez.
But none of those are, below $200 or $300.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I know some of those turtle ones are crazy.
Yeah, they're mad, like
Like out of your He-Man collection, are most of those or all of those complete with all the accessories, or do you not worry? Okay, you do. Okay.
Yeah. With He-Man, it's pretty doable. Getting those accessories because, like, maybe like Twistoid and Rotar, they came with like a couple of accessories, but most of them just had like the 1 or the 2 accessories and maybe
True.
like a cloth thing or a belt, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Would you say there's a lot of people? Is there a lot of people collecting like in your, over where you are? Like,
Um,
you get a lot of conventions and like little toy shows and stuff. Like, I know you said like the toy shops by you, there isn't that many, or they're only open like on a Saturday or
yeah,
Sunday. But
yeah. But I like I've thought about opening like a shop that focuses on that, but there's no way you could get the inventory.
right, yeah,
There's nothing's coming in.
yeah, it
If
sucks.
something were to come in and be like, oh, I have these 3 figures here without accessories, you know,
Right,
um, there's nobody coming in with like a full collection and stuff, and then having to worry about, you know, paying for a brick and mortar store, you know,
Yeah.
it's not doable. The guys that set up at big toy conventions, they will buy out somebody who wants to sell their collection and flip it, and it'll be divided over maybe 2 or 3 conventions, something like that, and then they're done with it, and you know they're really working at it, checking out collectors who want to buy this piece and that piece. And um, I think like the big convention that we do that's focused on just vintage toys here is called Vintage Toys of the Universe. It's
Okay.
at the end of September, and it draws about 500 people, maybe 700, and that includes people coming in from the Netherlands and some from France and some from Germany. So I think um maybe active in vintage, that might be like 2,000 people really going for it
wow,
in the way I do it within Belgium. But I could be wrong, or there's just so many people that already have so much that they're like, I'm not going to the convention. There's a lot of Star Wars collectors. There's a lot of
right,
yeah. But it's not like if you put on a toy show that there's going to be like 5,000 people coming, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
Did
whole different world. Jeez.
yeah. Did you have any desire to go to like Celebration in London, or are you not Star Wars primarily? Like, I know you don't primarily collect them, but you do have some, I would
the
imagine.
first time I saw Star Wars,
Mhm.
I started watching where C-3PO was walking through the desert,
Okay.
and I thought he was Fugitoid from Ninja Turtles. And I was like, when are the turtles gonna be in this movie? And so I was like, I had that parked in the back of my head, because my dad and my mom, they would never watch like sci-fi or anything.
Mhm.
This came on at like a Saturday afternoon or something,
Mhm.
and I saw maybe half hour of the movie, and I was like, I don't understand why is Fugitoid doing this? um, and then a little bit later, um, during a couple grades later in school, I saw Return of the Jedi, the one with Jabba the Hutt, like the second
Mhm.
one. What is that? Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Um, I saw that and I was like, okay, this is Star Wars. And then the sequel started coming out,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
never went to watch it. So I pretty much like got into Star Wars when I was like 19. So there's no nostalgic youth
Right. Right.
memories to it. What interested me about it is because everybody's always raving about it,
Mhm.
video
Mhm.
wise.
Mhm.
And when I went to university, I was kind of like, I want to get into like, I wasn't studying filmmaking, but I was just really interested in the way stuff worked like
Right.
that.
Oh yeah.
And that was like one of the movies that, you know, on IMDb at the time was like, oh, this is the best movie ever, you know, Star Wars. So
Mhm.
check it out, you know. But I like it. I like it. I like the toys as well, because everything like toy history wise traces back to that success and people trying to mimic it. I focus mainly on 80s stuff, and you know, it all resulted in when that came on and the toys came out, and you know, Mego went under, and everybody had to alter their stuff to just try and compete with it, which is crazy. It's kind of like a Big Bang thing
Right,
that
yeah.
happened to the toy market back then, you know.
That is wild.
So, do you have any Star Wars figures or toys at all?
Yeah, I started collecting them 2 years ago. So
Okay.
I have an X-wing. I have maybe 80 figures
Okay.
of the vintage line. I have some last 17 ones. I have an Ewok Village. I actually have two, and a couple of the monsters and stuff.
Nice little collection going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to pick them up when I see them cheap. I think like the first trip back to the US, I came back with like 40 figures or something. Yeah.
Hey, might as well, right? I mean,
Yeah.
They're small enough. Put them in the bag.
Yeah. I mean, like if you were to collect like G.I. Joes and stuff compared to like Street Sharks and Turtles, there's a lot more room in your luggage, you know?
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Man, Street Sharks have gotten crazy. It's amazing how expensive they are now.
Yeah.
I really wish somebody would do a retro release of the Street Sharks. Just like, how Playmates does the Turtles. Give us the same exact ones how they were. I don't care that they're re-releases. I just want them. I want them in the cool little box and everything.
Yeah, I know they did like a Mattel Creations thing where they remade the first one, and I actually got to hold that clay one, like the prototype
Oh,
that's
wow.
based off of, which was like, am I seriously holding this right now? And I did an interview with Joe Galliani about it, and at the time he was like talking about, yeah, there might be something on the horizon, and that was like the Mattel Creations thing where they also had Clambo in it. But I think like it has like the rubber stuff on it and everything, so it might be really high production cost to get it
Right.
out, and you would have to redo that packaging again. I know for Boglins, they reintroduced it, and they made this new type of rubber, or they went into venturing like finding an applicable rubber that could last longer and stuff. It seems to be still going strong. I mean, they're like doing repaints of everything, but
Right.
I mean, it seems to be doing a lot, like pretty good. I mean, they're still releasing new Boglins every year now, so that's great.
I don't like people I hear like people will say like, oh, I heard someone's gonna do Street Sharks or whatever. I don't know, but I've been hearing that for years now. I just started picking up the Cowboys of Moo Mesa retro line, or vintage stuff. They're a lot like the Ninja Turtle line, similar.
Yeah.
Those even got expensive. I don't know. Everything.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
not up there yet.
Right. Yeah, they're not. You're not like Turtles, but
Get them now, right? While you can.
Yeah.
still, it's pretty like even. I haven't really been out to like a lot of the shops, and even when I am, I don't really see them. But like even if you search them on eBay, there's not a lot of them, and I've gotten like I think I got 4 like mint on card right now.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's something you don't see in the store very often, like any of the stores.
I just remember it when I was a kid. That was it was for me. It was like Turtles, Street Sharks, Cowboys of Moo Mesa. They're kind of all kind of the similar. I love Turtles so much that it was just everything was kind of like that.
Yeah. I guess for me, it was like Star Wars, wrestling, G.I. Joe, Thundercats. I used to love that goddamn cartoon. I love that cartoon. I remember going to my grandma's house and watching that. And then G.I. Joe, I don't know what order they were in, but watching the Thundercats and G.I. Joe after school, man, that was my time. That was my hour to chill out, not do my homework yet, and just watch that. I love that. I love those lines too, the older ones. They were fun to play with those toys as well.
Yeah.
I got really into G.I. Joe as I got older because I was just like super interested in how articulated they were and how detailed the tanks and the vehicles were. So like as a kid, I was actually like actively sourcing to buy like toys from other kids? Like, do you have G.I. Joes or like older kids that would, like, you're not playing with that anymore. Can I have it?
Right.
I mean, what little
So,
boy
yeah.
doesn't? What little boy doesn't like the tanks and the soldiers and all that stuff?
Yeah.
That was fun,
Mhm.
for me. And they were detailed.
Yeah.
It's
There's
probably
a
the most
lot of it
detailed
too.
thing back then. Yeah, and there were a shit ton of them. Yeah, so and that was a good time. Good time to be alive, man. Like,
I'm from 88, so I was born in 88. So like during the 90s when I was like Ninja Force came out, like when I was 4 or something. That's like the first Joes I ever got. But like a lot of things that came out in the 80s in the US were still like getting reruns. When I was like 6 or 7, like I would still see like Transformers, the cartoons, and G.I. Joe,
that's another one.
stuff
Transformers.
like that. And like even up till like 98, you could still get like a Sky Striker in the toy shop down the street. So
Yeah, we're the exact same age, so
yeah.
I just it's on like I have a 8-year-old son. It sucks. Like I remember going to the toy store and like like I said earlier, you'd have a whole aisle just filled with just Ninja Turtle or G.I. Joe. Like it's just so different now. I mean, you're lucky if you even see a damn Ninja Turtle on the.
Well, you got one little section about that
like
wide.
one peg.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was even better for me. Like I was born in 73. I'm old. So going into like all the old toy stores, like Colin said, it was jam packed. I mean, there's not a time that I went in there where I couldn't find something that I wanted. And it's just G.I. Joe, Star Wars. I mean, I remember like the old Star Wars when like buying a few of those in the Matchbox cars, Hot Wheels, things like that. And they were really cheap and they didn't go up in price a whole lot until this past year or two. And now even the Hot Wheels went up in price. So I just remember all that stuff being so like available. Like it wasn't like it is now where you gotta. I guess toy hunting wouldn't have been much fun back then because you just go in the store and boom, there it is, no problem. Back in the 70s and 80s.
I remember like the first memories I have is like having a Ninja Turtle or going like when my mom would go shopping, like going with her, and like almost every store had turtles. We don't have like big toy stores here. It's like a mom and pop shop, or it's like a supermarket or a store where you can get like furniture, decorations and stuff. And they would have like at the cash register, would have these like chains, and on them would be like pegged turtles. So like there was no escape for her. Like even in the supermarket, they had like 2 pegs of just turtles. Yeah. And that's like every Friday I would get like a turtle there because I mean they were cheap back then. They were like $4, you know.
God, imagine that, you know.
Yeah. So I must have had like 80 turtles something as a kid. But yeah. It's also just so weird how all of these toy lines, even though like Thundercats, that kind of stopped around 88, I think, came up in 85, was like one of those new things competing alongside Transformers for the boys toy market. And I guess when I was around 7, so we're talking like 94, 95, my grandma, she was like, I'm getting these comics over at the bakery when I get my bread on Sunday morning. And they give me a comic book, and it's like Thundercats. And she had like 6 issues, which I think is like the American equivalent of the Star Comics series it has. So here I'm like with these, you know, comic books, and I'm reading them because like there's nothing else to do at grandma's house. And in the middle, you have like this big panel opening with the toys. I was like, wow, I want to get this, but no store had them. So
yeah.
then a couple years later, I see him over at a flea market at school, and I'm like, I want those, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, even for like I used to go to the grocery store with my dad just to get like, I used to collect like scratch and sniff stickers. I had a whole shitload of them. And then
Yeah.
next door, they had a little store. They sold the little small Smurfs.
Yeah.
So he couldn't even escape that. So we'd go over there and get a couple of those. And then it's funny because Wonder Bread, I don't know if you've heard of Wonder Bread. In the loaves, they used to have like a Batman Wonder Woman card
Yeah.
in a loaf back in this is in the 80s. And here I am, like my dad has to go get like 10 loaves of bread because I have to collect them all. Like I had to have them all. So he's sitting here with a shitload of bread, like all these are loaves of bread laying around the house because I'm trying to get the whole collection. So it's just one of those things when you were talking that just struck me like even like in the grocery store, my dad could not escape like me trying to get something and collect something because it was always something with me.
So
So,
you bringing up
Yeah.
those Smurfs, it reminded me of the damn raisins, the fucking raisins.
oh yeah, we had
I
them
just-
too.
I just got a
California.
bag of those from like a secondhand store recently.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
all like doubles and triples, but it was still cool because I remember having a shit ton of them when I was younger.
Yeah. A few people collect the I know Chris Burfield, we're gonna have him on the show in a few couple weeks. He gets the little Smurfs. Like he got a bag from the Goodwill and it had 2 Smurfettes in it on one of his latest episodes. And I'm like, I have to check and see if I got that because I do have them on my shelf. I had them in a baggie in my dresser for the longest time, like just put away. I finally put them out a few weeks ago.
So,
I really like them things still, man.
are
They're cool.
those like the pale ones from like the 60s and the 70s? And
These are like this small and and
they're like really rubbery.
I'm not that old. I think these are from like the 80s. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're like real. Yeah, they have like I got like a baseball Smurf, Smurfette, Papa Smurf. I have about 15 of them over
Because
there.
like over here in Belgium, they're like
Yeah.
in every flea market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I run
I
into
always
saw
keep my
some
eye
at,
out.
at Toy du Jour, like really nicely set up, and I'm like, that's like every flea market in Belgium. They're like
Yeah.
a euro a piece.
Yeah. I
The
keep
only
my
one
eye
that's
out
like
for 'em.
expensive is the black Smurf.
Oh, okay.
And there's
Yeah.
like a giant version of him as well, and he's like
Oh.
50 euros or something. So
Oh wow.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that now.
yeah.
I know I got like a boxing Smurf and this and that Smurf. There's a whole shitload of them, but I always keep my eye out if I go to like a yard sale, which they're rare there, but like a flea market type thing.
It
Definitely keep
seems
my
like
eye out.
they're
for
a
'em.
bit more scarce in the US than they are over
Mhm.
here, the
Mhm.
Smurfs. So
Yeah, it was just like a like
That's funny.
yeah, because the supermarket next door it was like a store. It was kind of like a Hallmark store, but it wasn't Hallmark. It was just like they sold crystal things, they sold this, they sold cards, like for birthdays and shit like that. And then they had like a display case full of these Smurfs. And every week I was like, "Hey, Dad, you know we got to go next. We got to go next door. Get me a Smurf or two." Like, and they were reasonably priced, so he didn't really. It wasn't one of those things where he was like, "Shit, we can't go over there and spend more money." They were really cheap back then, but they were cool, and I just kept them all these years, and I finally put them back out. This brings back memories. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Where I was initially going to go with the story was even for like a kid growing up in the 90s, like merchandise from Thundercats somehow got to me and influenced me. If it weren't the reruns by Transformers or stuff, like they put out the reruns for Transformers when the G2 came out in Europe as well. Same thing with like Smurfs and stuff. Like there's so much like merchandise that like years later still pops up and like you start getting for free when you purchase something. Like it's and it's like the properties that are still going now, So yeah, we'd love to see like a Thundercats live action thing though. That would be
You know what?
insane.
That wouldn't be bad. Actually, I'm surprised they haven't done that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I mean we're still waiting on that. What is it? They're gonna do like a Toxic Crusader new movie, and then they're gonna do like a He-Man, or
I wouldn't mind
and they're
seeing a
not
very
doing
well
it.
done He-Man. Like I need a good He-Man.
What do you mean that old what's his the Lundgren He-Man? That was awesome.
I guess, but I don't know. It just, I don't know. Thundercats would be a great idea, though. You know,
I'm sure we'll get one eventually.
I'm surprised we haven't yet. It's been like what 40 years. I don't know why we haven't gotten one.
Yeah,
They do everything
might
else.
stuck somewhere like licensing wise.
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? It's just,
No, man. I can see Batista as Lionel, right? Just put some long hair on him. Shit. Who knows?
yeah.
What's up, Fig Pics? Thanks. Welcome to the chat, Fig Pics.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
Fun
man.
to-
I know it's late there. We want to get you. You gotta get to bed. You gotta do some editing. I know it's probably almost midnight there now. So
Yeah, almost.
just take a couple minutes. You plug yourself. Tell us what you got going on. Tell us the name of your band, where we could find them, and appreciate you.
So I'm gonna try putting out a video each week. So if you're into 80s and 90s toy hunting videos and toy history videos, you might want to consider subscribing to the channel. If you're into metallic hardcore, post-hardcore stuff, you can check out my band called Rotzak, which is Rotzak. We have a full length out that you can listen to on Spotify. So
definitely go check that out. Yeah, if you guys aren't following, I don't know, for filming and editing and everything by yourself, you put out like a professional looking show. I mean, it's great.
Like we were saying backstage, I love the way it's presented like a documentary and just having fun with a bunch of your friends, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, you do a wonderful job.
Yeah, you really do.
Thanks.
But we appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate you giving us your time. You know, I know it's late there, and can't say it enough. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We'll continue to support. And yeah, man, thanks again.
No problem, man. Thanks for
everybody.
having me.
Yeah, man. Anytime. You can come back anytime you want. And everybody in the chat, thank you for joining. We will be back on Wednesday at 9 p.m. with Lost Leatherface, Brett Wagner from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 version. He'll be with us live, and that should be pretty fun. That's one of my favorite genres, and actually the original one's my favorite movie, and I've loved them all. Probably not the last one, but besides that one, and yeah, we'll be here 9 p.m. with Brett Wagner. So for now, thank you, Ed. Good job, Colin. Thank you, chat. And for now, that's what effing figures. We'll see you next time.
Later, everybody.